All right, we've got old Ben Solo himself here, looking as angsty as ever. We've got number 45 in the Black Series, Kylo Ren from The Last Jedi. Everybody knows who this guy is. We got our character in the window. We got some artwork. Again, he's number 45. We got a write-up on his current state of affairs in The Last Jedi, sort of, without being too spoilery. And then his name on the side. So let's pull him out. All right, and here is our new The Last Jedi Kylo Ren out of the box. And there are some differences between this figure and the previous Kylo Rens, obviously. We will talk about those later on in this video. We're going to do the normal stuff. We'll take a look at articulation, paint. There's not really much of that. And then the sculpt, just to see what he's got going on, and then kind of wrap him up with that comparison. First of all, I'm going to talk about accessories because he's obviously holding one, and I want to get it out of his hand so I can manipulate him a little better. So we have got a brand new lightsaber for this version of Kylo Ren. The big thing is that the blade is finally fully translucent, and I could not be happier. It's pretty much what you would expect from Kylo Ren, though. He's still got that same kind of crossguard saber, which is just a cool design. Everybody likes it. Can't go wrong with it right now. And then he also comes with a unignited hilt, which I will never be using. So I'm going to pop this out of his hand and just set it aside. Very, very cool. I'm very happy that they decided to make that change. Now, the big thing for me with this figure, aside from the head, which we'll get to, is the fact that he has a full-on cloak or cape, however you want to describe it this time. And it is very much like Director Krennic's. So it just sits on him, and it's very pliable and rubbery. And sometimes I'm okay with these capes, and sometimes I'm not. And this one I think is all right. It's not bad. Having this figure out of the box, I actually kind of like him more than I was expecting. He was looking to be the dud for me. He's probably still the least favorite in the new figures in this line, but he's not quite as terrible as I was expecting, which is not a bad thing. But this is just a black piece of plastic with some, kind of jagged lines in there. But it does sit on him pretty decently. He, if you put it on him, it just sits on his shoulders like this. And the best way to keep it on him is to kind of just wrap it under his hair, and his hair will actually help keep it down. Some people might think that's a negative. It doesn't really bother me. Anything to keep it on him is fine by me, and it doesn't look any worse for wear if you have it set up that way. I'm going to put it aside for now, just so we can take a look at this guy. So we'll do articulation, and you're not going to be surprised here. We've got a head that swivels. It's got a hinge on it. He can look straight, and he can look down. He has no upwards movement because of the hair. Arms can go all the way out, swivel all the way around, no bicep swivel. He's got rotation at the elbow and a single Black Series standard jointed elbow. We have got a wrist which has a vertical hinge, which is good because he's obviously using a lightsaber, and rotation. He has got a twist at the waist. It's kind of tight. He's pretty new. It offers, pretty wide range of motion. He can move forward. He can move backwards pretty well, and he can go side to side. Legs can go out only about that far, and that's not a limitation of this piece here. It definitely is hindering it, but the joint itself doesn't want to go. Forward kick about 90 degrees. Gets right through the slit in the skirt piece there. Although I would be weary about tearing it because there is a seam there, so it will just start to fray eventually. Not much on the back kick. Thigh cut. We have got double jointed knees as always. And then there's nothing at the boot. We have got a rocker and a hinge at the ankle. So like I said, you're not surprised for a Black Series figure. As far as paint goes, there is very little going on here. We've obviously got different levels of black. We've got the glossy black boots. We've got the kind of charcoal gunmetal black on the pants here. And then his kind of tunic that he wears is its own shade of black, but a lot of this appears to be molded. We've got some paint on the belt. Of course, there is a lot of paint on the face. I say a lot, not a lot, but there's some. And it honestly looks more painted than I thought it was. Maybe it's just the lights playing tricks on me. But he's got painted lips. We've got eyebrows. There is a little paint by the looks of it in that scar on his face, just barely. And then the eyes are very forward-facing, so I'm pretty happy. Like I said, I was kind of thinking this was going to be the dud for me, and he's still not blowing my mind. But the more I look at him, the more I think, he's not absolutely terrible. I guess that's not a very good way to describe it either. He is kind of boring You know, you're not going to top Kylo Ren with the mask on for me. But this face doesn't look half bad. The sculpt seems to be there. I'm really interested to see what customizers do with it. You know, the current adage is that the sculpt is there for Black Series, but the paint usually isn't. So I'm sure somebody's going to really bring out the details. I don't think this looks 100% like Adam Driver, but I think it looks more like him than the previous unmasked Kylo Ren. He definitely looks very, very mad, very upset, as always. He's probably whining about something. And then we've got that flowing hair, which is pretty nice. Nicely sculpted, a lot of line work. And of course, there is a ton of line work in his tunic in terms of sculpt, and then on the sleeves here. So I kind of like the fact that this is not soft goods. Soft goods works not every time. So I'm not upset that they didn't go that route. I think they probably wanted to try something different. And I think they succeeded pretty decently with how he looks in general with this kind of setup here. And here's a comparison of our 3 emo Darth Vader wannabes, the 3 Kylos. So we've got the original release here on the left, we've got the second release, the unmasked version on the right, and we've got our current one in the middle. The big thing that sticks out to me, aside from the obvious, you know, obviously these two have soft goods, this one doesn't, is that he has a much better lightsaber this time around. This one sucks because they just didn't have the design down correctly, because we've got the beam, you know, just incorrect. This one is better because it's still got the right design, but it's a cloudy lightsaber. It's not translucent like the other ones are. This one's full-on translucent. It's very similar to the SH Figuarts style Kylo Ren lightsaber, which I am very excited about. But beyond that, obviously there are a lot of differences here. So taking this guy out of the picture, because these two are very similar outside of the unmasked aspect. There are some differences, but for the most part, they're very, very similar. These two are obviously the ones to do the comparison against. The head sculpts are much different. The outfit itself is different. He's got a shorter skirt piece, I guess is the best way to say it. A lot of the stuff is slightly similar. And then, of course, he has a full-on cape this time, or a cloak, rather than the kind of hood and scarf setup that this guy has. And then, of course, the faces are quite different. I'm not sure which one I like better. This one seems to have a distinct lack of paint, whereas in comparison, when I see them next to each other, this one looks to actually be painted. This one is just devoid of any paint. He's very pale. This one actually looks, I don't know, I was kind of not too excited about this guy, but actually having him next to this one makes me a little more happy. So overall, for a figure that I thought I was going to hate, and while he's still probably at the bottom of the list for me in terms of new figures, I don't hate him. Like, I don't think he's terrible. I like the fact that they did not do soft goods this time around. It makes for a different look, a different approach for this guy. Face sculpt looks to be there in some ways. It's not perfect, and you know they never are, and I'm waiting impatiently for that photoreal tech to hit this line. But with the right paint apps, I bet somebody's going to really bring this out, and I'm interested to see what they do there. I think they killed it with the lightsaber. Very excited about that. I'll probably need another one, maybe 2 more to put in the hands of the original Kylos, just to make them look better. So that is going to do it for this look at the Star Wars Last Jedi Kylo Ren figure from Hasbro. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time, everyone.